Camera's rolling.
Baby, I'm too young to know any better, but I guess I'm just too old to care. I'm waiting on the morning light to clear the air. Now the sky is hung with regret, letting go that you may flags. All the silence that keep me coming back. I'm the one that you hated. You know, the one you didn't want to believe. The one that you hated. Take a look at it now. I'm the one that you created. The one that you hated. Now the sky is hung with regret, letting go that you may flags. All the silence that keep me coming back. I'm the one that you hated. You know, the one you didn't want to believe. The one that you hated. Take a look at it now. I'm the one that you.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Dad Talk Today. It's Friday. It's the weekend. Hope everybody is doing well. It's been about a week. A lot's been going on, man. I just needed a little bit of time to kind of get my face off of this for a second. I think it did me well. Julie, how are you doing today? Guys, really quick, if you'd like to support this show, many ways you can do it down there at the bottom. Dad Talk Today, no spaces. That's Cash App, Venmo, and Patreon. We also have subscriptions and super chats over on YouTube. Same thing over on Facebook. I, as always, got my Dad Talk Today mug, drinking my coffee out of it. But, yeah, man, needed a little bit of time to just clear my head. I think last week was it was a little bit of a stressful time. I remember it was like one of those nights, dude. I got several different texts about murders at custody exchanges and stuff like that. And I'm just like, when does this end? The fact of when you come on a show like this, you're trying to do something for solutions, and it feels like talking about parents losing their lives, the things that are going on with kids starts to feel like routine. It's crazy, man. It really is crazy. And like I said, I just wanted to get away from it for a little bit. There has been a lot more that's went on since then. I wish I had better solutions for you guys. I do. I really do. Unfortunately, the truth of it is we've got a fight on our hands. We've got a very, very big fight on our hands. Jules, Father X, what's going on, guys? Alan said it's getting out of hand, guys. It's been getting out of hand. If you look up dangers at custody exchanges, for some reason, what's up, bro? Josh, what's going on? If you look up, like these incidents at custody exchanges, for some reason, you're not going to get much information on them. And I think that has to do with the fact that there is money out there to hide these statistics. Even when it comes to domestic violence happening towards men, there is a lot out there, again, that hides those statistics. So if you want to find them, you really have to search. When you got attorneys that are reaching out to you, they reach out to this show because it's something I'm talking about and saying, hey, can you give me statistics on how many of these guys are getting killed at custody exchanges? No, I can't. Well, why not? Because nobody's doing it. That's just a sad fact. Or talking about the paternal filicide. That was one of those articles that I was writing last week over there on the Substack. And as I'm looking at the numbers, guys, we're looking at an average of 500 cases per year where parents are killing themselves or killing the kids. That is insane. Why is the legislation quiet on that? Dude, it's just one big racket. This whole thing is one big racket, and I'm losing my patience with it. Man, dude, they have got the spammers out this morning. You don't, guys, there's nobody on here offering their services. Let me delete this guy. Get out of here. But like I said, the whole thing is just like one big racket. You cannot make this system make any sense. There's not much I'm going to be able to say today that I haven't said several times ad nauseum, but I'll continue to do it. I'll try to tell you the best I can. I feel like when it comes to men, there is very little relief. There is very little desire for it to change. It's very obvious how these courts have been set up for a very long time. I see very little emphasis on this system being changed. I see more on how do we more effectively navigate inside of that system. How do you navigate inside that system, guys? Can you tell me that? How do you navigate inside of a system where false allegations run rampant and there's no consequences for it? How do you navigate inside of a system where a man is looked at as guilty before he even steps foot inside of a courtroom? How are we going to make sense out of that? And I know there's different things you can do. You can file this, you can file this, you can bring up this case law, you can do this. Most of these guys are working class men who have gave up their dreams in order to be able to provide because they've been told that's what their role is. Their role is to provide. So expecting them to go and do all this, most of them aren't going to have the time to. And if they don't have the time to, what happens next? We'll hire an attorney. We'll get somebody that can do it for us. That person's not your therapist. That person is not there to get your ex to say good things about you or to get you to say good things about your ex. Tell me all the dirt that you can on them, and then let's get this thing going. And it really, just like I said, the more that I think about how much sense it doesn't make, there is no person on the face of this earth that hasn't made mistakes, that doesn't have a past, that's got details about their life or whatever. And these are somebody that they are going against that they might have been married to, they might have had kids with, they've shared a part of their life. And then we just go in there to air out everybody's dirty laundry that has absolutely nothing to do with if a person can take care of their kids, if they can provide, or if they can even see their kids. Most of the time, the first thing, again, is going to be child support. The majority of cases should have never been there in the first place. It shouldn't. How many people do you see saying that? Especially ones that could make a difference, that could actually do something. I'm sick of playing fate, man. I'm sick of going around playing these games. Like we got to keep begging these people, telling them statistics, helping educate them on what's going on. Yes, somebody said, is there, do I think that information is being suppressed? Absolutely, I do. That is a part of VAWA. Even on paternal filicide or custody exchange murders, there's a lot of these cases. Where's the statistics for them, guys? Is the information being suppressed? Well, guess what? Give me the information on right now. Can anybody give me the information on how many parents that's happening to at custody exchanges? Can you give me the numbers on the filicide? When I say filicide, a parent taking themselves out and taking the kids out. What are the numbers? You know, if they're being reported correctly, that shouldn't be a hard thing to find out, should it? When you got VAWA that was reintroduced inside of a $1.5 trillion spending bill, guys. And look at the consequences. You want to know what the consequences are? The people that show up in these comments, the people that are sending us messages, the people that are saying, hey, I feel like they don't listen to a thing I got to say. And no matter what I do, all it equals up to is more money. I've gotten to the point that I can't do it no more. And I don't know where to turn. Depression, everything else, loss of purpose is what follows. And we watch our men every single day feel like they don't have a purpose, Like they're not even being allowed to be a parent because they're not. They're not. It's ridiculous. The same ones, if something happens at a school, will be the ones that will get out there and talk about the fatherless statistics. I am so sick and tired of listening to these guys talk about the fatherless statistics, knowing that they could give a crap less about fathers. I'm going to get into it a little bit more. Yes, it's live. Yeah, it's live. But then you got these fatherhood bills that's going out there. You even got these organizations that have father in it. Initiatives, if you will. I've been to some of those meetings thinking, hey, dude, they're talking about fatherlessness. They're talking about fatherhood. These will be friends. They'll understand what I'm talking about. But if you bring up what's going on in the family courts, you bring up what's going on inside the system. No. We can talk about the lack of opportunities if a father gets in the system when he gets back out. We got to get him a better job. We can talk about all these different things of giving fathers opportunities so that they can make more money. But when it comes to giving them time with their kids, how are you going to sit there and talk about the fatherless issue and you continually talk about the symptoms, but nobody is talking about curing the disease? I don't understand that one. Who is talking about curing the disease? This is a very easy place for people who charge the money to manipulate. You guys are somebody that's looking for hope. You're hoping that even though you know the system doesn't make sense, there's going to be somebody that's going to come by that has their heart in the right place, and they're going to help me navigate this thing, right? And you end up getting roped into that system anyway. No matter how bad you see that the system is, if you want relief, you're going to have to go through there. You're going to have to play that hand of poker and find out what are the results going to end up being. And to tell you, like, you've got these good chances. This is what's going to happen. You just need to file this. You just need to do this. There's guys that will absolutely give everything they've got until they realize I've got nothing else left to give. And I'm sick of it. That's what I'm saying, dude. Like, I guess that's one of the reasons, again, I had to take a little bit of a break, get my mind off of it because, you know, I know very few attorneys. One just showed up, got his heart in the right place. But these stories get old, man. I don't want to be the show that's coming on here every time one of these guys are losing their lives at the custody exchanges or something's happening to these kids. That crap gets really dark, man. And you soak it up like a sponge. But guys, in that period of time, it's became routine for me. When these happen, I'm going to get on here and I'm going to report it. And I'm just going to keep telling. I don't want to just keep telling these stories. I want to see a little bit of action. Not a little bit. I want to see a lot. I really do want to see a lot. Equality is something that everybody wants until you talk about men. I was listening to Warren Farrell the other day. He was talking about, the options that a lot of the women have. If she wants to be a homemaker or stay-at-home wife, a lot of times she's got that option. Or maybe she wants to go and work a job. Okay, and she's got that option too. Maybe they want to do a little bit of both. If you're a man, you had 3 options. Work a full-time job, work a full-time job, or work a full-time job. Some of you might be working 2. Some of you might be working 3. And you got your side hustles going as well, just trying to keep money in your pocket. The money is what makes the world go round. The other side of this is with the false allegations and things that are going on, there are kids that are going through trauma. They're going through abuse. Just last night, I was up until 3 o'clock this morning in person, talking to somebody about trauma that they went through as a kid. That kind of stuff is real. But to know that we allow people to make allegations of cases like that aren't true in order to get this upper hand in court. Answer me this. Why would we not have consequences for false allegations? Why would we allow lying? Money. I mean, it really is. It's the answer. Because why, if we see a problem somewhere, would we not try to fix it? They see the problem. Why aren't we trying to fix it? And that's why I've been sounding the alarms. Like, I realize this shared parenting stuff, as much as I'm behind it, if you don't have those consequences for false allegations, all you're doing is saying, hey, the silver bullet is what you got left. And you think that thing isn't going to be used? It's going to be used nonstop. It's already being used. Guys, come on. It's already being used. I can't imagine what it must be like to go through what some of these guys are going through. At the same time, you guys got to hear a little bit of my story. And then I got out. I'm sure it would have happened. I could very easily relate to you guys. But knowing what it's like to face that abuse, to go to the system asking for help, to get quoted these astronomical amounts of money that I don't even have in the banking account to get started, and being told that if I don't do that process, I can't have my child. And you want to talk about the fatherless statistics. Yeah, talk about your statistics. Let's talk about the money. How many fatherless children are in the United States right now because they couldn't afford the system, or because they went through the system and it did not allow or protect them, their rights with their children? That's a statistic I would like to hear. I really would. Let me get through some of these comments. I'm not going to be on here for too long, guys. I'm working on some other projects. Please go and check out that Substack. Right now, I'm working on a sports project, and it's kind of funny that I'm working on something like that because I have no idea about sports. If you ask me basketball, it'd be Michael Jordan and Charles Barkley. If you ask me football, probably Deion Sanders and Joe Montana. I know nothing past that. I watched a little bit of it when I was a kid. This particular subject that I'm working on right now, there was trauma involved, though. A lot of trauma. The sports career, very well documented, but the trauma as a child that leads up to that, not so much. And just being able to still talk about what we do here in a way, but not as deep. Not as deep. And then that sucks too. That's a guilty feeling. Because if I'm not on here reporting it, who is? Who is? Oh, man. Joshua Talentino said, I read an article where a mother alleged DV, the moved in, which her father, who had been charged with domestic violence second degree, and the court was okay with it. The mother ended up getting assaulted by her own father. Okay. Maybe I'm just not reading it right. I threatened the judge because of what happened to my kids after he signed an order looking at 5 to 10 years in prison. They let me go due to the fact that my kids are really being abused. Guys, do me a favor. Please do me a favor. Don't threaten the judges. Don't threaten the judges. It's not going to go good for you in any shape, form, or fashion. Are you upset? Yes. Are they playing tricks? A lot of times, yes. But I can tell you that is one of those things that is never going to end well. One thing that we need to do is be able to handle our emotions and direct our energy back into a positive way. Your anger can be a gift. If you box that thing out and get it in the right channel and say, you know what, that little fire that's under my ass right now, I'm going to take it and I'm going to go do what I can. Reminds me of Carnell Smith. Dude, 11 years in child support for a child he found out wasn't his. After he finds out the kid wasn't his, after several paternity tests, he said, I shouldn't have to pay child support anymore. Nope. You should have found out a long time ago. You're going to continue paying child support. Imagine a judge telling you that. Like, it's your fault that you're a victim of paternity fraud. You should have already known, okay? And so I'm going to continue to make you pay that. And now this kid that you thought was yours, that you've been helping to raise, you're not going to see anymore. Could you imagine the emotions that a man like that would have had to have? And dude, he said, okay. He went to the Supreme Court. He got the laws changed in 11 different states. And after that, the judge came back and apologized to him and said, I was wrong. Now, do I think that's going to happen in a lot of these cases? No. Do I think everybody can go up to the Supreme Court and do that? No. But it's one of those ways of doing what you can. Those guys got too much power. Judicial immunity, they've got too much power. Just please. And one of the reasons I say I need you to handle your emotions is because we need you here. We need you here. We need more people involved. We need all hands on deck. We need everybody getting out there and doing what they can. Fighting for each other, not just their own personal cases. Fight for each other, because every time another person joins in, your voice becomes louder. Oh, man. He said, how come all these places charge money? All right, so that's a little bit of a different one, okay? Look, I know some good attorneys, okay? I know some people that do good stuff inside the courts. They charge reasonable amounts. This is somebody that went to school for several years to become an attorney. Most of them probably get into that profession because an attorney, they're going to make money. Okay, they get here. Some of the good ones, they see what's going on and they're like, oh my God, like, what do I do? They still have an office. They still got people that's got to work for them. I can only imagine what it would be like to have to be an attorney. And then, like, I see some of the messages that I get where people are like venting and trying to send me all their court documents. I can't read that. There's no way. But if somebody's going to represent you, they're going to have to sit down and really study each and every little detail of your case. They've got to know it inside and out so that they can represent you. Okay, because when they get inside that courtroom, everything in the kitchen sink is going to get thrown at you. So I understand that they've got to have money to operate. And I think because of people being ripped off a lot of times by a lot of these attorneys that don't care, when we talk about money, you got to understand there's going to be necessary money for people to operate. Now, do I think it's costing, $600 to $1,000 an hour for some of these guys to represent you? No. But it's the same here. Like, if I ask for a donation, like, it costed nothing for these headphones. It costed nothing for that microphone. It's costed nothing for this electricity, the StreamYard, the time that I got to take away from what I'm doing in my daily life to edit a show. There's going to be times where money needs to be charged. The problem is in the amounts of money that's being charged. I will also go a step further, golfer, and say the majority of the cases going through the family law system, where it's a mom and dad that no longer love each other, whether they're married or not, they're splitting up. They need somebody to come in between and say, hey, this is how we divide it. If they can't do it themselves, most of those cases should have never been to court in the first place. Could probably be settled with a third party without ever going to the courts, without any attorneys. And if there was a level playing field where when guys stepped in, they were treated as equals rather than paychecks, there would be no need to charge money. Maybe that initial 1 hour sitting there while we agree on this stuff, and that should be a very reasonable amount, $100 or $200. I don't know. I don't want to put a price tag on it. You guys have had too many price tags put on you, but the majority of it shouldn't be that way anyway. Let's be honest. Most of these are ran by state and government programs. They're already getting our taxpayer money. It is your family, whether it's breaking up now or not, that busted their ass day in, day out at a job, has a very big portion of their paycheck taken out to go and run these government programs, okay, so that those courts can exist, so these roads can be built, so we can get those traffic lights or whatever. That was what our tax money. You're already taking a portion of that money that I went and earned so I can take care of my family. Now, when my family's breaking up, I got to go to these courts that were funded by this tax money, go get a third party to tell you my story that I could have told you myself if you actually listened to it and it wasn't about the different things that you got to file. And then I'm going to give, money away to my ex, in which you're going to take a portion of it, which is going to come back to fund the system even more. And knowing that it gets bonuses. That's where I got the problem with it. Golfer. Yeah. What do you guys think about that? He said, great point. That happens every day the courts are open. It does, man. I very, very rarely have somebody that comes in and says, oh, dude, the family courts was great for me. Very rarely. I tell you something else that's very rare that I see here. Dads that don't want to be with their children. Dads that don't want to try. I don't want to be a dad. I know a lot of dads that said I couldn't afford to pay the attorney. I know a lot of dads that said I spent every money that I had going in there. I know dads that say, hey, I was hit. I had things that was going on with me. And every time I tried to talk, nobody listened to me. I've heard a lot of those. I hear from desperate dads every single day that would love nothing more than to be with their kids. But obviously you're taking two people, again, that once loved each other. Now they don't. Maybe they didn't even love each other. Maybe it was a one-night stand, whatever it may be. That doesn't mean the guy doesn't want to be with his kid, right? And we take this couple that we know that has conflict and we give the control to one person who may have been the cause of the conflict. And then we tell this person over here that needed that relief of getting away from that person, you got to go ask them when, where, and how. And if you don't want to do that, you're going to go through this system that's going to give them back the control. And then in many ways, you got another judge there that's got judicial immunity and they have the power of your kids. It's called your ex. The one who creates conflict many times is the one that has the control. And why will these guys stop reaching out? Because nothing good happens when they reach out. If they go to your system and you don't do anything, and then you promote the junk that we hear on here, and then you expect them to go and be able to talk to this person who knows, I have the power, I can make an argument out of everything. I think many times, a lot of those parents, they will do everything in the world when you reach out to make your life a living hell, to make you hate every second of that conversation so that you don't reach out. Because they know they can. Would anybody say they relate to that? Said they know the problem, but they don't want to hurt their feelings. But apparently they don't care about the child's feelings. Well, dude, even then, again, when you got this child that's been told this parent is, this, and they've had that person that's had control, and there's been that wedge there, and they've only gotten this one side of the story. That's why so many parents want to tell their story. They feel like they're having a relationship that's blocked from them because they haven't been able to talk, right? And so when they see that kid, I want you to know what was really going on. A lot of times that kid's they got up a wall. They ain't even going to be listening to it, or it might drive him even further away because she's good. He's bad. And to reverse that, especially when the courts again have gave control, very hard. Michael Neal. He said, we shouldn't have to pay a lawyer to be a father. So wrong in so many ways, especially when there's already a court order established and nobody seems to be able to enforce it. I agree, man. I mean, how many times have you heard these guys say, they're in contempt, they're not doing what's supposed to be done, and you have to go to court numerous times on that? Like, how many contempt orders do you got to have? How many times do false allegations got to be made before they say, we might need to take a look at this here? The Smith firm. Here's one of the good ones, guys. Until judges start following the laws that support the dad's position, it doesn't matter how hard we fight this fight. We need good laws and judges to follow those laws, but we don't have that yet. That is an attorney. I met this guy. I'm skeptical of attorneys. I met this guy at an event and just listened to him talk. He went on his own, not on behalf of an organization, and tried to pass shared parenting in his state. And I was like, okay, why would an attorney do that? Got to talk to him. Really good guy, man. Really good guy. Check out Chris Smith. I'm not going to do that on here often. I'm not, dude. But I really, really enjoy him. And thanks for your friendship, man. He said, has anyone tried suing for easily provable false accusations, perhaps in small claims court? Yes. There was one that was national news, worldwide news, Johnny Depp. He won. I think that's because he had the public behind him. He had all eyes on him. Again, Johnny, where the hell are you, dude? Seriously, where are you? It makes me angry to know that some of these guys go and say, I need eyes on my case. But when we need eyes elsewhere, you could be a voice for so many. I guess it only mattered to you when the turd was on your bed. Yeah. Josh said, if there was ever a positive to my custody and family court experience, it's what I've learned personally and just how much I love my son and how far I'm willing to go with him. Dude. Patience is very thin with it right now. Very, very thin. Until you have a real movement, real organization, unified guys coming and saying, we want answers. This is what this is. Got to be much more than what we're seeing here. This is what we're going to continue to go through, guys. It's going to need much more than a podcast, That's an interesting one. Michael Dunmore said Kathleen Zellner, she already sued the hell out of my county. Kathleen, never talked to her. I know she was the attorney in Making a Murderer. She's also worked on some other interesting cases. I forget the name of that one documentary she was in, but it was about a boy that got falsely accused of murder when he was very young. He spent like 15 years in prison. And she went back and showed like he had absolutely nothing to do with it. But the prosecutor in that case knew that the boy was innocent, but he knew how to make a slam dunk out of it. And then later on became a judge. And that's it, dude. A lot of these guys are more worried about their record, their wins and losses inside of the court, because they might be trying to run for some position later on. Look, I have a 90% success rate or whatever, instead of reading some of these documents and saying, this is wrong. How can you take a case knowing that somebody is guilty? There's people that do it every single day. Joseph said, it will take mass resistance. It will, man. It will. Who just died a few days ago? Who just died a few days ago? He's talking about Stephen Avery? That was a crazy case, man. That was a really crazy, crazy case. Oh, Kevin Fox. I don't know who that is. I've been out of the loop, guys. I've been severely out of the loop purposely, on purpose. Like I said, I don't no need to explain to anybody. I got some other stuff I'm working on. The family law will always be like my number one, trying to get something going on it. But I've realized just how unprepared this fight is. I believe at this point, I've had several people ask me, like, so what is the solution behind this? And trust me, all you got to do is ask it. You'll have thousands of people saying this is the solution. You got to sue them. You got to do this. You got to do this. I believe we're fighting a culture war right now because people don't want to believe dads. They don't want to believe men. I mean, what's it say that when you're in a country that has something called a gender council? What would be on a gender council? You would think the obvious, right? State the two main genders that people are born as. But men aren't even a part of it. Boys and men. Not even. So, Mike Whitney. He said, so what do you think about some of my ideas about helping to unify the movement and form a leadership alliance that would help in many ways beyond just financial? I think people have done it many times. They've tried. I've seen nothing but drama on it. And I'll tell you this, Mike, if you got an idea, do it. I'm not the guy. If you got an idea, do it. I see people who's got tons of ideas behind this. Do it. Do it. I'll sit back. I'll support you. At this point in time, I would say again, though, guys, immersing yourself in this battle, not getting away from it, can have devastating consequences. One thing I have learned over the past, several years is that when it gets to that point and you're just like, the more you work on it, the more lost you feel. And the more stressful it gets, there's going to be a time that you have to say, I'm going to pull back for a second. I can't look at this right now. That's where I was. I really was, man. And I'm very sorry to the family who we was reading about last week. I forgot the name of the father. But dude, it wasn't just that one, man. I mean, even following that show, I had text messages, ding, ding. Like, there's another one. There's another one. There's another one. I know. There's probably going to be another one fall today. There will probably be another one tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day. It's hard to get on here and speak when you don't know what to say. Especially about that, man. I hate knowing that there is kids out there that no longer have a dad. There's many of these guys that are still alive and their kids still don't have their dad. It is simply a money thing. It is an industry. And, dude, I sound like I'm going down a rabbit hole, tinfoil hat, but I feel like just so many people are in on it. So many people. And the ones who speak out about it have a target on them. You know what I mean? You do. You do, because you got to protect the precious. That family court industry. All right, guys. I'm going to hop off of here. Get a little bit more work to do. Just wanted to come on here and let you know I'm not gone. Just taking my eyes off of it for a bit. Please follow me on the Substack. That's the way you can help. I am looking forward. I've got several films in the works. Those have been therapeutic for me. I can be the guy behind the screen rather than being the guy on the screen. Sometimes, honestly, I'm tired of being on the screen because I'm just another one of you guys that's been throwing everything he can against the wall trying to get some answers. And I'm not going to stop doing that. But at the same time, there is certain stories out there that I think, if told in the right way, can have a major impact on this culture war. These things we're fighting. You're not seeing that type of media being made yet. Then we make it. So I've got several of those coming up. Very, very interesting stories. I've got some being made. I think for every family law thing I do, I'm going to try to do another project not related to family law just to get some balance in this head of mine. I didn't even get to talk about it. The Substack, man. We had our first monthly meeting the other day. Had a Zoom room full of people. We started it out. Not a thing on here will be shared outside of this. Do you agree? Everybody agreed to it. And it just became a safe place. Whereas the men spoke, I heard them say, like, hey, your case was very similar to mine. But then you start realizing just how similar all of us are, even if the names are changed, the locations are changed. You start seeing that. I think when you hear other people talk about their stories, you're going to find more similarities than you're going to find differences. But seeing men have that sacred place, man. Even I got to become one of the boys. I opened up and was just like, dude, can I do this? Like, I spend a lot of my time being the guy trying to do it for other. Can I do this too? And I talked about things with the guys I've never talked about. And it was pretty amazing. We're going to be doing those more once a month. That's for the subscribers over on Substack. And I'm planning on putting the films and a lot of other stuff over there. And there's a new platform I'm planning on reaching out to, locals. I want to go and check that out. I really want to get this movement away from social media. Let me tell you, I think that's got a lot to do with it. You talk about hurt people, hurt other people. Social media is full of hurt people, dude. You can't get on a single post on social media and see people just completely cursing out each other, degrading each other. That does not do good for somebody's psyche, especially not somebody that's already struggling. But what if it became a place where it was more support, people chipping in, listening to each other? That's where I think this movement can start finding some healing. One of the solutions I would say to you guys for this is the healing. You got to learn how to heal. You've got to learn how to find the balance. You've got to be able to talk about your case or other people's cases without letting the emotions override you. And that's not easy. That could take some time. But I think the more that you come in here and find other people that you can relate to, the easier it is for that to happen. Joshua, he said Patreon. No, it's Substack. I was on Patreon there for a while, man. I don't really have the options that I do on this one. Give me just a second. I would love to see this group just continue to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And if it starts getting to the point where it's big and we're having to cut down on people's talking time, I'll just make several of those monthly chats where I'll come on the screen and do that with you guys. I'm not a coach, but I can be one of the boys. You know what I mean? Just coming in here and saying, look, you guys don't want to start, I'll start. This is some of the BS that goes on with me. You know, because that's the thing, dude. I don't care who in the world it is, dude, from those judges to the president or whatever. Dude, we all got our issues. And men should be able to talk about those without being judged. It seems like things that most people might be able to talk about and people wouldn't even give two thoughts about if it becomes a man. Anything you say and or do will be used against you. Not just in a court of law, but in a society that demeans every single day. You're nothing more than a provider, a paycheck, and your worth is what we allow you to have. So get on there. Jules said, was there women in there? Because I kind of get the idea it was just for men. I don't want to intrude. Yes, we did. And there was a couple of the guys that was like, I don't know about that. You could tell it made him a little uneasy when she started speaking. It was her grandma. And it was very well taken. Because I think we learn from each other. Okay? We definitely learn from each other. So I'll be glad to have you guys in there. I will be making sure that you're taken care of. I am not a coach. Again, I'm just one of the boys. And my heart really is wanting to go behind these films. I think it's going to be one of the ways I can sustain myself a little bit more. I mean, for the past 5 months, dude, we've done a daily podcast. I ain't going to be able to do a daily podcast much anymore because even the podcast I'm doing today probably sounded a little bit like one of the last ones I did. I want to get some more stuff going in there. But these films, dude, I'm telling you, I got some amazing ones coming up. And for the people that join that Substack, you'll have access to it. There is a discount. If you sign up at the yearly, there is a discount. I think you get like 2 months for free. And so those really help out. I am designing a shirt right now for the ones that are signing up for that. I'm planning on giving that out as a little gift for people that are helping us on that. But I'm going to say this is one of my last hurrahs. I'm going to create resources one more time. Last year, I spent all year busting my butt and paying back money from where I lost money, trying to make money and get traction for this movement. This is going to be probably one of my last big hurrahs of trying to go the extra mile and say, I'm going to create this. Let's see if we can get the support behind it. I mean, just the grim reality, guys, I'm not the attorney. I'm not the expert. I'm not the coach or anything like that. So if we're not getting these subscriptions, if we're not getting stuff from you, we can't exist. And it's not fair to me nor my family. You know, at some point in time, I got to say, if the community wants it, I need them to show me, right? So those subscriptions go a long ways. If everybody does a little bit, we can do a lot. I love the fact that I got to go in there and just talk to the guys, man. I can't say I've really seen much of that. That wasn't about a podcast. Nobody saw that. That wasn't streamed. That was where the real work happens. When the tears come out, when you see the things that people have locked inside of them and not talked about because they're afraid of that judgment or whatever, and you see that just being released, and it no longer has that power on you that it once did, right? So, all right, guys. Check that out. Substack, dadtalktoday.substack.com. I'm also going to be getting articles and other things. It was a very last minute show, so I'm very sorry about it. I'll have extra things like where you can call in and stuff like that to access and stuff. But the podcast is always going to be free. That was my plan. These other ones, they're not being made for free, so I got to get some support. So I hope you guys will support it. I really do. I've got, I think, like 8 documentaries being worked on right now. And I'm talking about they're going to be good, guys. Really good. It's going to be heavy stuff, though. It is definitely going to be heavy stuff. Everything we talk about here most of the time is heavy. So, all right. You guys have a great weekend. I will see you again sometime next week. The big show is coming up this Sunday. Make sure you go in there and listen to Jimmy. If you listen to Jimmy and you listen to his advice, you don't have to listen to this guy. He should be your first resource. He's going to give you the dating advice, fitness advice and stuff like that. By the time you get over here and we're talking about what we're talking about, you're screwed. That's just a little funny. I don't mean that. We've got hope. This thing can happen. But make sure you get out there and support Jimmy. I'm probably going to end up doing something like that too. I want to cultivate other leaders, maybe more people I can help get on the screen so I can get off of it. Because I want to see some new faces getting empowered. You know, Mike, you talking about empowering the movement and unifying the movement. I think we're going to need some new faces. Jimmy is definitely one of the answers for that. The first time I met the guy, I was like, okay, I need to use him. He's talking about something I'm not talking about, but very important. It all kind of clicks, right? So I'm going to be looking for some more opportunities like that to get some other voices on here for you guys as well. So I will see you next week. Have a great weekend. I hope you get to spend it with your kiddos. And that's Dad Talk, guys.
Never